Hello lovely, today's tutorial is the foundation link double crochet stitch. This is a great stitch for starting your project without using chains. It's a variation on the foundation double crochet stitch but a little bit neater, and it's also a variation on the link double crochet stitch which is used for the rest of the project. So let's get started. The Emily top is a sort of t-shirt v-neck pattern with a grown on kimono style sleeve. It's really lovely. So I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. All my other links will be there as well. So today I am going to show you all the bits and bobs to make the Emily pattern in a very small scale. Last time when I did a tutorial for my Karen Gorm vest, I made a little sample vest for Sparkle the Unicorn teddy, which is my son's teddy. And today I'd like to introduce you to Tom Rainbow. This is Tom. He is my son's rainbow bear, and he's asked me to make him a top. So Tom Rainbow will soon have a lovely wardrobe. So let's get started. I'm using a larger hook than recommended for the yarn because link stitches are tall and tight, so if you want a nice drape then you have to up your hook size. I always recommend to do a gauge swatch to check the drape, to check the stitches and make sure that it all fits before you go ahead and start any pattern. The other thing is, as you can see, I'm using scrap yarn because Tom Rainbow is not getting my expensive silk and bamboo yarn. So yeah, it's just a scrap ball, but it'll do the job. So without further ado, let's get started. I should also say that this tutorial should help you if you are following along with the Emily pattern, but it should also help you if you are doing your own thing. I'm just going to snip these off. If this was a real garment I would take more care, but Tom won't mind. Okay, so start off, we're going to start with a foundation, a linked foundation double crochet chain. So let me show you how that works first of all. So first of all, I'll make a slip knot, and then with the slip knot I am going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to insert my hook into the very first chain, and then I'm going to pull up a loop. So I've got 3 loops in my hook, yarn over, and I'm going to pull through 2 and yarn over, and I'm going to pull through 2 again. That's me now made my first linked stitch. Sorry, my first foundation double crochet stitch. But what I'm actually going to do now is a little variation. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll have seen me making a foundation double crochet row for starting any project, but this one is just a little bit more fancy, because we're going to do a linked stitch. It's not too tricky, I promise. So all we're going to do instead of yarning over is we're going to insert our hook into the middle bar, the middle line that goes across the way of the first proper stitch that we've made. As if you can see, there's the loop from the actual stitch we've just worked, and then there's the central one that goes in the same direction, and then there's the bottom one. So it's the middle one that we're going for. Insert, then pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, and now we're going to not yarn over. We're going to insert our hook into the bottom. Remember, I'm looking sideways because this is worked sideways until we've got the full row. So I'm going to, here's the top, here's the middle that's on my hook, and here's the bottom. So I'm going to insert into the bottom 2 parts of the V on the bottom of the stitch, and then pull up a loop. Got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So the rest of it's all the same. Now we've got a chain 3 that makes the first double crochet. We've got a linked double crochet, foundation linked double crochet here, and another foundation linked double crochet here. So we've got 3 stitches all together. we're going to not yarn over again. We're going to insert into the central bar again. So here's 1, 2, 3. So the middle one. Insert. Pull up a loop. 2 loops on your hook. Insert into the bottom of V. Pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2. Let's get rid of that wee ugly join. And pull through 2 again. That's us got 4 linked stitches done. I'll keep doing that. And there is no particular number you need to do with a stitch. It's just like a double crochet where you can make as many as you like, so it's not a multiple. So I do recommend though, because it's a V-neck that we're making, that you end it on an odd number. And if you're following my pattern, you can check the amount that I recommend for your size. There's a size chart and everything for you to check. Oh, it's a little bit tight there. There we go. So I'm not going to make too many because, as we know, I'm making a teddy bear garment today. And let's see how many have I worked so far. I have worked the chain 3, which counts as a stitch, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll make some more. Insert. There we go. Pull that one. So I'll show you again. Don't yarn over. Insert into the central bar. Pull up a loop. 2 loops on your hook. Insert into the bottom of the stitch. Remember, I'm looking at it sideways, so I'm working it this way. But once it's worn, it would be this way. And so I've pulled up into the central bar, and then at the bottom of the stitch there's the V at the bottom, there's a V at the top, so you can use either side. If you're working to extend, you use the bottom. If you're working to continue, you use the top, but they'll both give you a V stitch to work into. So insert into the V at the bottom, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, pull through, oh I only did 1 there, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Okay, and I'm just going to check poor wee Tom Rainbow. We need to find out how many stitches to do for him. Let's check. He's called Tom Rainbow because he's rainbow coloured, and also because he's named after Scott McTominay, which is the Scotland superstar footballer. So anyway, we're wanting about 16 centimetres. That'll do. Right, Tom, you sit over there. So I've worked about 7 just now, so I said 16. Okay, so I'll just do another double amount. I'm just going to fast forward through this part, so you can keep going. If you need to rework it, you can rewind and look at it again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think I'm going to work about maybe 20, see if that was enough, or maybe 25, maybe 30. And if you were doing it for real, do a gauge swatch. And hopefully you can see that because we're using the linked part, that it's not very holy, it's quite uniform, a bit more uniform with this. And remember, again, I'm using scrap yarn, so it's not the best, it's a bit scratchy, but you can see the purpose of it. I have totally lost my count, so I'll check it in a moment. Too busy thinking about nonsense. Oops. Right, let's see. 1, 2. So did you see what I did there? I flipped it. So I'll take my hook out and show you. This is the right way up. So this is the bottom, and this is the top, but it can also work this way too. So it's not a big deal. You can work into either. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19. I've got 19. I'll do a few more. I said 25, didn't I? I'll check at 25. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 24. I don't think 25 will be enough actually. I might need to do 30. We'll see. Yeah, I'll do 30, I think. Or 29 actually. I'll do 29. Because I want an odd number. Just make sure that when you go into the V at the top, that you don't go into the hole in the actual stitch. You want to just go through the 2 V stitch loops, and that's all. You can feel it, it feels different, and it'll be more bulky. Now, have I counted there 29? I have no idea. I don't know, I don't seem to be able to keep numbers in my head today. There we go, 29. Alright, so that's the foundation row. Let me show you. So that's how it looks. This is the upside down. This is the right way up. And this is the side view. And just for kicks, there's the other way. So you can tell that this is the front of the stitch because the central bar looks like they're linked, running a little link stitch all the way along the centre, like a little ridge. And on the back it's more kind of loopy, and there's not a central bar running all the way along. So that's how you know which way is the front, which way is the back. So this is the front, and that will determine the front of your entire garment. Okay, it's not a big deal though. If you do switch it, just make sure whatever you do to the front is what you do to the back in terms of seaming it up. Okay, so let's get started with the first row now. So second part of this video, the second part of this series is working up the extended length double crochet. We've already got our foundation double crochet row, so now we're going to focus on the extended length double crochet and how to start it, how to finish it, and work it up. Okay, so I have 29 stitches altogether on my initial row, so I'm going to have 29 stitches on my next row. Now you've learned how to work the foundation link double crochet to start your project, I just want to show you that there's other ways that you can use this stitch in your project, such as for using them for sleeves, as my Emily top pattern uses. So I'm now going to show you the technique on how to work them in the middle of a project. At this point in your top, you'll have loads and loads of rows before you get to this point, but because we're doing a terry, I'm going to start showing you how to make the grown on sleeve, the kimono type sleeve, integrated sleeve, whatever we're calling it. And how we do that is different from this side to this side. On this side, because I've worked from the beginning to the end and I'm actually finishing at the end of this row, I'm going to have to work along and with my extension and then work back the way along to get a stitch. I want them both to be balanced out. So if you are finishing at the end of your row for your extension, you're going to make a chain of however many stitches you want your sleeve to have. In the pattern it's about 10 plus a chain to turn, two chain twos, a chain two turn. But in this one I'll just do a few. So I'm going to show you both ways of doing it on this side, just so you can compare it. But one side will be worked with chains and then worked back with a second step of stitches, and the other side, because you are starting at that side, you'll be working along, you'll just do it on a winner with a foundation chain instead. So there's both ways of doing it. Let me show you them both. So first of all, I'm going to show you the chain one. So chains along, I'm going to do, let's say, 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be the extra part for my sleeve. Okay, there. And then I want to chain 2 more to give myself some height for turning, and then I'll turn it, and then I'm going into the 1, 2, 3, the third chain. Okay, and this is just a linked double crochet, not an extended one. Now the reason I'm not doing an extended one here is because I've already got my chain row. That's what I've created here. So just going to do the linked row without a chain. Oops. So I'm going to link and make a double crochet. I'm going to link and make a double crochet and link and make a double crochet. Now if it does get a wee bit twisty here, just kind of untwist, let it rest. And then this now becomes a part of your main garment row. Okay, and then you would just work your way along to here, and then you would do a decrease again and then go along and decrease and so on, and just work your way up to you get the correct length or thickness for your arm to fit through with a little bit of extra there. So in the Emily pattern, it tells you how many rows to work and so on to look out for. But so that's how you work the extension if you're doing it in 2 separate ways. So depending on what direction you are in the pattern, chain row first, and then go back on yourself with a linked row, a linked double crochet row. But you can also achieve that by one of the rows, as I said, one side will be that and the other side is going in a different direction. So to do a extension with a foundation double crochet, and I'll hopefully be able to explain why a little bit better now. if I'm doing the chain row and then building on top of it, it means that that new row belongs to the row on top of here. If I want my extension row to belong to this row instead, then I have to work the extended foundation row instead in one step. So effectively putting the chain and the double crochet on this row and not letting it sit on the row on top. So if I want it on this row, here's how I do it. I'm going to insert into the central bar, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook. Now, did you see I'm working sideways so I can see it better? And if I just give the stitch at the end a little tug, you can see the loop at the bottom of the stitch is there. We want to go in to the V at the bottom, see? Pull up a loop, 3 loops in your hook. Chain 1, chain 2, chain 2. Or pull through 2, sorry. Pull through 2, pull through 2. And can you see that it actually looks just the same now? There's the chain, there's a double crochet, there's a link. Let's go. So insert into the central bar, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, turn it sideways so you can see the bottom of the stitch, give it a little tug so you can see where the bottom of the stitch is, insert into the V of the bottom, pull up a loop, 3 loops in your hook, pull through 1, that's your chain, pull through 2, that's your double crochet, pull through 2, double crochet, done. And if you have a look, you can see that it's extended nicely and they're the same height because they're basically made up of the same stitches. So that's the 2 different options. So you need to determine, is it this row that I want the extension on, or is it the next door row, because one of the sides will need the chain treatment and one of the sides will need the extended double crochet linked foundation treatment. So make sure that they're both balanced. You don't want one arm going up a row above than the other. We don't want to be sloth from the Goonies. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. I'll do a few more just to give it a nice end. Okay, so now I've made this one here, and then you would simply work back and forward, always doing your decreases whenever it tells you to on the pattern. If you've got a larger bust or you're a larger size, then you will have to do a couple of decreases like we did on either side of the apex. If you're following along with the Emily pattern, I would recommend keeping the stitch markers in all the way up to the top, even when you've finished the final decrease. And the reason for that is they basically act as a guide to where your neck to your shoulder is. Let me use Tom. So there's the neck, and then human shoulders have like a little sort of straighter part, and then they have the slope of their shoulder, so it's like 2 different angles here. And when we are making our neckline, our V-neck neckline, we don't want to add extra height onto the neck part, because then we've got a gapey front and it's too long. But we do want to add extra height onto the shoulder part to give it movement and to give it drape, because that's part of the design on the top. So that's the stitch marker kind of goes from the apex up, and it naturally indicates where the neck base is roughly. So it's a good sort of suggestion to keep the stitch marker in place, just so that you've got a guide of where your wedge is going to rapidly increase for the sleeve if you're following the Emily pattern. I felt like I wanted to show you a little diagram while I was editing this video, so bear with my impromptu graphics. First of all, you're looking at the panel that you've made in the Emily top. Because of the direction of the stitches, you will start from either the edge to the centre, or from the centre to the edge. A chain stitch is virtually no height at all, whereas the linked double crochet or the extended double crochet are quite tall. And so we have to try and balance them out. So as always, thanks for watching this tutorial. Hopefully you found it helpful and useful, and check out the other parts of the mini series for the Emily top in the channel playlists, and also the left and right playlist as well for other patterns and tutorials. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the other things, and find me on social media or on my website, and reach out to me because I love to hear your comments. Until next time, bye lovely.